Hello everyone and welcome to my latest episode of my Rust Quickie series. In today's Rust Quickie I want to talk about the match statement, which is also very powerful. So let's switch over to Visual Studio Code where I want to show you that statement in more detail. In the first example, I want to show you how you can work with the match statement in Rust. In the first step, I'm defining here an integer variable, speed in kilometers per hours. We initialize that variable with the value of 31, and then I'm using here an expression to initialize a string variable called message, and that initialization is done with the match statement. So we are matching here that integer variable speed in kilometers per hour. You have here within the match statement multiple arms. You can think about those like arms in a traditional switch statement when you're working with C, C++, C#, and so on. And then we say here, for example, when the speed is between 0 and 9, we initialize the variable message with the string slow. When the speed is between 10 and 12, we initialize that variable with the string average, between 13 and 15 with the string fast, between 16 and 29 with the string ultra fast, and when that variable speed in kilometers per hour is larger than 30, so we have here an open-ended interval, then we initialize that variable message with the string impossible fast. Very important here is when you are using here the equal sign, then the right hand value is included. So in our case, in the first arm, we match the integer values 0 to 9, and the value of 9 is included. When you remove the equal sign, let's do that. When we remove that one, the value of 9 is excluded, and as you can see, we are getting here an error from the Rust compiler because exclusive range patterns are currently experimental and they are not yet supported. Therefore, I have used here the equal sign to include that right hand side value into that match arm. And another very important thing is that you also need a so-called wildcard arm. This is more or less a default arm when you are thinking about the switch statement. So when no matches are done here, then the Rust compiler will just use the wildcard arm. And the wildcard arm is always indicated with the underline sign. So as you can see, when we remove that one, so I'm just commenting it out, you can see we are getting again an error from the Rust compiler because the wildcard pattern, the wildcard arm is currently not part of our match statement. So this is also very important. When you're working with the match statement, you need that wildcard pattern, otherwise you're getting from the Rust compiler an error message. So based on that match expression, we initialize that string variable message, and then we can print out that message with the print line macro to the console. So let's run that code with the cargo run command, and as you can see, I'm passing here a value of 31. Value of 31 is matched with that last arm, so we are initializing that variable message with the string impossible fast, and that one is printed out. Let's change that speed in kilometers per hour, let's say to a value of 14. Value of 14 is in the range between 13 and 15. So when we run that again, you can see you are a fast runner. So that's the basic idea about the match statement in Rust. Of course, you can use every possible data type with the match statement. In the previous example, I have shown you how you can match integer values, and of course, you can match other data types like a Boolean value. So as you can see, I'm initializing here a Boolean variable with the value of true. True is internally represented with the integer value of 1, and now I'm using here the match statement to match the false value to an integer value of 0 and the true value to an integer value of 1. And then again we are printing out that value to the console. So let's run that. As you can see, we are running here with a value of true. True is matched to 1, so we are returning a 1. When we change that value to a false and we run our program again, you can see we have matched the value of false to a value to an integer value of 0. And of course you can also use other data types that you have already seen in Rust. So the match statement isn't only for Boolean and integer values, but it's very, very powerful. In one of my upcoming Rust quickies, we will also talk about enums and other more complex constructs in Rust, and in that case the match statement is also very, very powerful. So a very cool functionality that Rust provides you here. I hope that you have enjoyed today's Rust Quickie, that you have learned something new about the Rust programming language, and I'm already looking forward to see you next week again, where I will talk more about the heap in Rust and how you can allocate data on the heap with the so-called box data type. So stay tuned, enjoy your remaining week, and see you soon. Thank you.